So this is Demi-Goddesses, the dark podcast. When you gaze into the abyss gazes back into you, and whatever's within the darkness shines within the light. So in Stranger Things, those GOV bros, those GOV wannabes, wannabe soldiers and shit like that. The reason why they were so non-discriminative about taking our kids and shit, which is weird, like, cause that's one of the reasons why people why someone who's trapped within their mind or tricking their mind or tricking themselves within their mind, they'll be like, this cannot be real. Because why would someone with a gun want to chase a little so-called, what mortals refer to as a kid? It makes no fucking sense. No, not to them, not yet, but it really does. But anyways, the things that they're being, because they'll tell you that they're just training. This is just they just practice this stuff. This is what they go through in the military. This is what they go through in the secret operations, the 3-letter agencies, blah 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 blah. They're, and the ones that you don't publicly hear of or know of, what they do in there too. But just to break off from the previous episode, kind of, so when they do this astral projection, they do the lucid dreaming with these wannabe soldiers, they'll go in there and try to gangbang and shit with other soldiers from other so-called nations, they're all one, but the soldiers don't even realize that, so they're being experimented on to see how they would fare in psychological warfare. Which once again was just another form of spiritual warfare. But they don't tell them that. Soldiers find the wannabe soldiers, they figure that shit out after they're out of the military. And what happens is they might continue to, try to mutilate someone in their sleep, as mortals refer to it as. And what happens is that eventually that other soldier will wake up, have a psychological breakdown, then they'll commit suicide, and they won't even remember what happened, that or what's going on within their minds, that allowed them to feel this way. It's not even them, it's the projection, it's the manipulation, it's the gaslighting, it's the shit that they saw while they like, you think that these soldiers, they just sleep, these wannabe soldiers, they just sleep, and they're okay. They can just sleep it off. You're only a soldier by day, a man at night. Figuratively, yeah? No. They're fighting in their sleep, and they're fighting while they're outside. So they don't even know what civilization looks like. That's why they have arrested development. It's not that they look useful. They literally are stuck in that age. In that man-made age. They're stuck in that state of mind. And when you're stuck in a state of mind and you have that arrested development, the traumatic experience, you keep looping it. So it's like you're repeating the same, what do mortals refer to it as? Timeline, over and over and over and over, until your mind is so dissociated from your vessel temple, what mortals refer to as their physical body, that they just randomly, quote unquote, die out of nowhere. They just commit suicide. They can't handle anymore. They're having flashbacks, traumatic flashbacks. They're fucked up. Their PTSD is acting up. They got CPTSD, got PTSD, got trauma. They got autism. They got fucking ADHD. They're fucking ASPD. They're just dyslexic, so they can't even fucking read anyways. It's fucked up. And people just don't give a fuck, but they're not supposed to anyways. But it's just like, if you wonder why they're such assholes, it's not a surprise. Okay, it's just like, would you want to go through it? And they probably got raped too. No, they usually do. They most likely did. Just like in a gang, bro. Like, just like if you wouldn't have said, if you deep enough in that bitch, somebody gonna touch you. Yes, they will. They're gonna try. They're gonna try to touch you, actually. And no one's gonna do anything about it. You gonna have to switch somebody. You gonna have to switch Brody down. He gonna have to go. If you don't switch him down in the battlefield or whenever no one's looking, yeah, all right. It's like that. And so they're desensitized to violence, to the trafficking operations, to the psychological warfare, to all that shit. Like it's one, and you'll be and if you're critical, if you're really truly critically thinking, you're like, they're already psychopaths. Why do they have to be psychopathic when they're sleeping too? Like in the astral realms and the etheric realms. They and honestly, bro, a lot of the ones that are just mortals, they're not even astral projecting. They're just lucid dreaming, and they tell the soldiers it's astral projection because they want to be out. They're just want to be astral projectors. They're not even actually astral projecting, which is why when they're lucid dreaming, the realm that they're in appears to be just like what mortals refer to as the physical realm. Actually, so which is why they like, are in there and they're able to find the same soldiers that they're doing the undercover operations on, or the same facilities, the same environment, the same, like everything looks the same as it is here, but it's inverted. It's all like fluid and shit because they're in a they're like in a hydrogen state because when your spirit is active within the fluids within the brain, within the temple, within the mind, with the fluids within the mind. No, excuse me, not actually the fluids within the vessel. Don't excuse me, but the fluids within the vessel are activated, like the gamma radiation, alpha brain, activation occurs, beta, all that shit, right? What happens is they're within that mind state, and so it appears that it's all fluid and stuff because those fluids being activated are basically projected within the mind, which is why everything kind of seems what they coined as hallucinogenic. But if you're self-aware and you realize it's not a hallucination, you can just do whatever the fuck you want in there, basically. Not without karma or anything, but they don't care about that stuff. And they're not gonna tell the soldiers that they're gonna have to deal with this shit later on. They're just gonna use them. And then whenever they don't feel like they can psychologically handle it anymore, now they're retired. Now they're honorably discharged. And this is the light shit. I ain't gonna lie, bro. If you think this is deep, bro, like you're smoking edibles type shit. And don't think they don't use edibles. Oh yeah, they use edibles. The soldiers be doing buku shit up in the barracks, and then they go outside and they still be, and then they think it's no big deal, but they're already getting micro dosage. They're already doing psychological experiments with them. They're already high as shit. They don't even realize that's the reason why they're even willing to do that stuff inside the barracks. Why they're acting that way. It's not like they weren't like that before they were in the military, but like the military exploited that impulse within them, that lack of self-control actually. So you think a soldier has self-control? No, that motherfucker is psychotic, has OCD, and doesn't give a shit. And they're traumatized. So it's like, what else are they gonna do? That's not the home. That's not the role model of a balanced soul and spirit and vessel. It's not, and it never will be, because you're supposed to heal. No, you're allowed to heal after going through, after surviving and thriving in so much chaos. They don't have a recovery process within these cults and covens and within the Kabbalah. They just continue to they continue to allow themselves to be traumatized over and over and over and over again. They're not healing themselves unless they're doing it by themselves, for themselves, unless they realize that they even allowed to, unless they even realize that they're fucking traumatized. Okay? So they're just fucking up. These wannabe soldiers are allowing themselves to fuck up their own minds and they're being used and manipulated by the GOV.